I'm Kevin Jacobsen of Gold Derby here with Chris Perfetti, who plays Jacob on the very buzzy new ABC sitcom Abbott Elementary. And just to start things off, in the pilot, there's this line about how Jacob and Janine are two of the three teachers who made it past their first year of teaching at this school of about 20. Um, so I'm curious from you how you would describe Jacob and why you think he was able to stick it out and be in it for the long haul.
Oh wow. I think Jacob is probably just the perfect concoction of like naivete and like giddy up, upstart, I can change the world. And that's probably the only reason he's still there. And and to describe him is, I guess, well, I will say Quinta, when we were first talking about Jacob, kind of always described him as sort of like the best friend or sibling that everybody wishes they had, or maybe wishes they didn't have, but somebody who's just ferociously loyal, well-intentioned, often to a fault, obviously. And I think of him as sort of like a social puppy. He's an overachiever and a nervous wreck, and more broadly, he kind of functions in my mind as like a Shakespearean clown. Um, he's yeah, he's I won't get into the more, I guess, more boring aspects of his function in the show. Just technically, he is a sixth grade history teacher, and that's all you really need to know.
Yeah, well, I do think that the beauty of the show is that there's more to him than just, the clown in a way, or the best friend.
Let's
And
hope.
yeah, I mean, just going back to the pilot script, what were the early signs for you that this was something special? Because I've talked to a few of your castmates already, and they've said that
Who have you
like
talked to?
Lisa and Tyler so far. But they said they just knew it right from the start, like this, they had to be a part of this. Was there something for you that stood out?
Um, I sort of have this like litmus test for when I'm reading something for the first time. I try to, if I can, read things in a public place to see if I'll laugh out loud. Um, and then and Abbott definitely passed that portion of it. And then I think the other thing for me that I remember very clearly about the first time was like, if it makes me jealous thinking of somebody else doing it, I feel like that's also a really good sign. And Jacob, and really their show at large, just it felt very clear to me. Like I felt like I could see those people in the world, and I felt like it was uh I felt like I just got it. Not in the sense that it was close to me. Jacob and I are not really too similar, but I felt like I could see the road ahead, and I knew who that person was in the world. But yeah, I thought that the jokes she was trying to get away with in the pilot, and we did get away with in the pilot, were very brave. I thought that was one of the things I was attracted to. This sense that writing that sort of says, if you get this, you get it, and if you don't, like maybe you'll get the next one. I find that an incredible quality, when you can sense that a writer is doing something for themselves and uh, not in a sort of basic or overdone or general way, which is obviously the clear pitfall in network TV.
Right. Well, just speaking to your performance and the character, there is this kind of eagerness to him where even if he makes some faux pas and tries a little too hard to prove like how much of an ally he is, all of that, there's something still kind of endearing about him at the same time. So I guess how did you find that sort of confidence in the character without going too over the top into you know, like what you were talking about, like lowest common denominator kind of humor with it?
I think that has a lot to do with the conversations that Quinta and I had going into the show. And I think, um, I come from a theater background, and I tend to work very slowly. And so the experience of being on set for me is nothing less than torture sometimes, because obviously in TV and especially on our show, we're working so quickly. And so I think the way that I found it was just, I mean, first of all, we had kind of a dream, something that most actors never get, which is between the pilot and when we finished shooting the rest of the season, we had some time. So I had time to sort of like daydream about what Jacob's life at home and, dreams and passions and failings are. And so I think it's just that, and the fact that, I have a room of people whose job it is to also come up with who he is. And so, we're sort of learning about him at the same time. But I think just in general, I got it from Quinta, and I got it from just sort of trusting that I knew this person. Yeah.
Well, speaking to maybe that home life, I do think one of the more interesting elements, just from a storytelling perspective, is how the mention of Jacob having a boyfriend, just it comes quite a few episodes into the season. There's not even really a mention of like sexual orientation up to that point. It's just integrated very naturally into the plot. So what did you think of how that was handled? And, also the casting of Larry Owens as his boyfriend and, getting to work with him.
Love Larry, big fan, would work with him every day, all day. I thought it was really brilliant. It's another kind of thing that I can just sort of lay at the altar of the unbridled genius of Quinta. Is like, she knew that the real story of, Jacob being queer is that we don't need to make a story of it. When I can't remember which episode it is, her character, her response to finding out that Jacob has a boyfriend is not, oh my God, you're gay. It's, how come I haven't met your boyfriend yet? Or how come I didn't know you had a boyfriend? And I think that speaks to something she's after. I think it's a generational thing. I think it's a mildly political statement to, not make a big thing out of it, and to just say that there are queer teachers, and there are openly queer teachers, because there are. Yeah, I think it was a great idea, and it sort of synthesized in the beginning of our work together. I remember Quinta saying that, in the formulation of what would become the rest of the series, there were some characters who sort of were like Frankenstein. And I don't remember if Jacob was originally pitched, if this was supposed to be a part of his life. It wasn't, when I read the script or when we shot the pilot. So yeah, I think it's handled in a very smart way.
I completely agree. And I do want to also mention a few other dynamics with you and other castmates on the show, like with Barbara, like with Melissa, these two legends, Cheryl Lee, Ralph, and Lisa Ann Walter, because again, there's like some seniority there, but it's fun to see how especially Melissa likes to mess with him sometimes. Do you have a favorite dynamic at this point, like a pairing that you always love to go back to as far as Jacob and another character?
No, I think the brilliant thing about what Quinta and our writers and our EPs have done is create this sort of like six-headed amoeba where, any combination of those people is a recipe for comedy. I think it's really set us up to mine a lot of like what Jacob and Ava being in the same room means, and who is Jacob trying to impress, and who is he afraid of, and who does he think he's better than, and who can he absolutely relax around. Like all of the characters are incredibly different, and so when you stick any of them or three of them, or God forbid all, five, six of them in a room, it's like um it's just Quinta has done all of the work for us, I think, by creating really specific and different people. And to that end, I will say that one of the real joys of this whole thing has been like hanging out with those actors, because in addition to obviously all of us playing incredibly different people, we all kind of come from different parts of the business and certainly parts of the world. And we're kind of like I hate to use this phrase, but we're kind of like an unlikely family. And it's very cool. I mean, everybody, I'm just like, I'm on cloud nine. I love them so much. And everybody thinks that they have the best cast, but they don't. In fact, I do unequivocally have the best cast. And yeah, they're all just very good and very hardworking and very generous. It's very cool.
Mm. It's funny to hear that, because it's like, you feel that from season one already. It feels like with other actors, maybe they develop those relationships as shows go on, but did it sort of just feel immediate in that way?
That's cool. I mean, I was always just sort of like in awe of 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 all of them in in their beauty, both inside and out, and their skills. They're all consummate professionals. It was kind of easy, and I guess now that we're talking about it, I'm realizing that it's not usually like that. It's not always like that, and sometimes, I guess, depending on the project, you can kind of skirt, or you can kind of like cut and run and save yourself and get your work done. And but this, it really relies on all of us kind of holding each other up and saying yes to each other and challenging each other. And yeah, I lucked out, because it does feel like that. And the really weird thing is we shot this in COVID. We shot this. I mean, you're always kind of making something in a bubble, and you never really know like what people think of you. But especially like shooting during the pandemic is it's an incredibly isolating feat, like I said, to begin with, and this was even more so. So I think the fact that we were all into each other is a minor miracle.
Right. Well, you also have these other castmates, the kids. I mean, I wanted to talk about just like the teaching element itself. I was talking to Tyler the other day. He mentioned that the child actors, they don't always really see the line between actor versus teacher, and they kind of like they call
Well, not
him.
with him because he's so damn good, but
Well, there
yeah,
you go.
with me, they're
But
like, you're fake.
has that been your experience? They see the line with you.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if they see the line with me. Like I said, the experience of being on set for me is probably incredibly different from that, from that of Tyler's, literally the chillest person on the planet. I am there, freaking out about what we're going to do, and thinking about the prospect constantly of the fact that this is going to be printed on film and is uh anywho. But I will say, to that end, the kids are this incredible reminder that uh their proximity to play and make believe, which is arguably the reason we all kind of like fell in love with this thing to begin with, is so close. They are not at all worried about like the fact that this is being recorded on film, or what they look like, or what they sound like, or what story they're telling, or how they are being representative of other people or themselves in any way. They are the essence of improv, essentially. And that's how it should be. They have no self-consciousness, and they distract me in a good way, I would say. They are, to be completely corny, they are sort of the real teachers. I mean, when it comes to acting. Wow, my drama school professors would probably disown me for saying that.
Well, just in the last few minutes here, I just wanted to ask about the fan response, which has just been like off the charts positive for this show. And again, going back to network, I feel like it is unique to have, the critics and the audience all have this kind of universal praise for a show on network TV. And I know that, you and your cast members have talked about how special it felt from early on, but I'm just curious if there's been anything about that response that's been surprising to you at all, in terms of like the response from teachers or TV critics, or just how certain fans have really latched onto your characters already.
I'm glad to hear the show is a success. You are the first person to tell me that. Um, oh God. To be honest, it's a bit overwhelming. It's like it hasn't totally sunk in. Like I said, I feel like being an actor, my experience of being an actor has largely been about becoming comfortable with things not working out. I think if any actor is going to survive a day, a week, years in this business, you become very comfortable with people not understanding what you're doing, or them understanding it and something out of left field tanking what you're doing for whatever reason. So it feels totally surreal, to be honest. I will say the flip side of that is it feels incredibly good. Like it's a high that I have not experienced before. As I said, being an actor can at times be depressing and a demanding sort of endeavor. And so to think that people are getting something out of what we're doing, especially something that is, in my view, contributing so positively to the zeitgeist and representing people in a way, telling a different kind of story, just so positively and so hilariously, if I dare. That's incredibly cool. It's like it's more than enough for me. It's yeah, it's great.
Well, a great note to end on there. Thank you so much, Chris, and congrats on season 2 pickup. Looking forward to seeing how this goes forward. And for those of you watching, subscribe for more interviews and go to goldderby.com to make your Emmy predictions.